Nothing.
Are you trying to go live?
I already have.
Without me?
Yes.
They don't like you.
Why are you lying?
They don't like
Why
you.
you lying?
So stupid.
Hey, all you cool crafting critters. Say something.
Yeah.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to be going over the fabric cups
That Cameron's gonna do.
that I'm going to be doing because I am better than her, whether she wants to admit it or not.
Whatever.
So, strap in, boys and girls.
It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Raise your hand if you're a boy in here.
Only one.
Just one?
So lame.
Okay, just me. All right, so cool. I'm going to transfer it over because I'm that weird guy.
Sorry about that. He kind of thinks he's funny and cute and stuff. So, we're gonna be doing the fabric tumbler. I have tons of fabric over here because I felt when I first started out that, oh my god, I'm gonna do a ton of fabric tumblers and they're gonna be fun and they're gonna be great. So here we are with like 20 squares of fabric. I've got everything from...
Wanda said, I'm strapped.
What's that mean?
I don't know.
You're a strapping young man. That's what that means.
You think?
Maybe.
That's your assumption. Okay.
So, love, faith. I've got all of the houses of Harry Potter. I don't know if I've told you guys this before, but very much a Harry Potter fan. Skulls. Some more Harry Potter, in case you forgot about my Harry Potter fetish. Even more Harry Potter. These are the people. I've got more. Yeah. Some Georgia Bulldogs. I got some music notes. Now, these I got from Walmart. They came in the squares like this, and I think they were like 98 cents a square. It says they're 18-inch by 21-inch, so that is definitely enough to wrap a cup with. Now, some of mine, like this, I got from eBay, because there's a big sticker on it. So you can also find some of the squares on eBay if for some reason you can't find them inside of your Walmart. I know right now fabric is hard to come by because everybody's making homemade masks with it. This is the one that I used on my last fabric tumbler, which is the Miranda map from Harry Potter. So I made a 30-ounce tumbler out of this, and I could probably do another 20-ounce tumbler with it if I really wanted to. And it came in a Harry Potter pack like this. So what you're going to need for this is your tumbler. You're going to need the awful Mod Podge, which I've been thinking about switching to designer clear adhesive through the glitter craze because my Mod Podge gets chunky and it leaves thick streaks and it's just, I hate Mod Podge. So I got 2 cans of that, 2 jars of that. Your foam brushes, you can find these at the Dollar Tree. I found these at Dollar Tree. You can even find them at Walmart, Lowe's, anything like that. In the paint section where the stain is. And you're going to need like a box cutter type knife because once the Mod Podge makes the fabric hard, you're going to trim up the rim of the cup. So I guess we'll go with this one today, not unless someone else has another one that they'd like me to see do. This is the Harry Potter peeps on there. And I'm doing a 20-ounce tumbler instead of a 30-ounce, so it's going to use a lot less fabric. So, I'm gonna, not open yet. I'm gonna open Mod Podge. So the first part that you want to do is you're gonna line up your fabric onto your cup. So you're gonna stick it to your cup with some Mod Podge. And you're just gonna brush it on there. Now, some people go back and they do the whole cup at once. I do this so that I have a good starting point and it's not going to peel up where it started and start sliding all over my cup.
I don't know how to say her first name, but her last name is Shaw, and she said, I love it. Where did you get that fabric?
The Harry Potter one. This one came in a square with the Miranda's map, the Deathly Hallows symbol, and I think this one, it came in a pack, kind of like this from Walmart, and I think it was maybe like $6 for all of it. Yeah, it just came with a bunch of them from Walmart. I got it from Walmart. It's cheaper that way. Some of them, like the Georgia Bulldogs and stuff like that from eBay, is more expensive. I think I paid like $4 or $5 for this fabric. I don't even know how much fabric it is. It was so long ago when I bought it. So I'm gonna take my edge right there where it's trimmed off, and you can see that it's feathered out on the edge from where they cut it. I'll probably actually use this edge because it's a straighter edge and it's not feathering. If you look at this one, you can tell that they cut it right there, and it's all feathering and all that good jazz. And I don't want to start with that edge, so I'll wrap it the other way.
Joyce said cute fabric, and Miss Shaw said thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. So I'm gonna stick my fabric on my cup. Some people, you can have a little bit of overhang. So there's a little bit of overhang there because as I go with this cup, there's going to be, this cup is not a straight tumbler. It's a modern curve. So when I wrap it all the way around my cup, you can kind of see it's not going to be completely straight. You're going to get more fabric towards the top than what you started with. The bottom is where, you know, you have to worry about not having enough fabric. So I always start with the top with just a little bit of overhang, because by the time you get back to this side, you're going to have a lot more overhang from pulling and making it tight towards this curve down towards the bottom. So I've got this stuck on the Mod Podge. I'm going to go back over it with the Mod Podge and kind of squeeze it in there. You know, I'm dabbing it so it's getting a lot of the Mod Podge onto the fabric. Now this does dry clear. However, if you leave heavy streaks on it, you will notice that you'll have some discoloration on it. I had that with my Miranda map cup that I did for a customer, and I went back and touched it up with a permanent marker, and you couldn't even tell that it was touched up because the color was so close to it. So you're just gonna make sure that that's stuck down very good. And this gives you a good starting point, because as you're wrapping it around your cup, you're gonna have to pull it tight and make sure all the wrinkles are gone out of the cup. Because once it's set down with Mod Podge, you don't want to pull it back up because the fabric gets hard with the Mod Podge. So you want to make sure that this dries a little bit before you start wrapping it.
Joyce said, have you ever used a Mod Podge brush? I love them. It gives an even coat without streaks.
Yes, I do have a Mod Podge brush, but I've never used it with Mod Podge, strangely. I bought it to do it with the Tack It method. But yes, I do have one of those. And I mean, since this, you have to do such heavy coats, I'm not sure that it would be as good. I would definitely try it though. If you have one at hand, I would definitely try that as opposed to the foam brush. I never really thought of that before, but I do have one of those. So I'm gonna fold it back. The Mod Podge up under where I started the fabric is dry. You can see my thumb is right there just to make sure it stays steady and doesn't move. So I'm gonna go back and I'm going to
Miss Shaw said, have you ever made a cup with multiple different fabrics? I'm just curious because I love all those, and I would love to have all of them on one tumbler.
I have not made one with all of them, but I would think as long as you sealed everything correctly, it wouldn't be a problem. The key to this is making sure that you have very thick layers of Mod Podge, because once epoxy gets underneath the fabric, it starts discoloring it, and it makes it look a different color, almost as if it had water stains under it. And it also starts pushing the fabric away from the cup, because the epoxy got underneath it. So I layered that with Mod Podge, You don't really have to worry about the strokes, the brush strokes or anything like that, because you're going to smooth everything out on it, on the cup. So you're going to just put the fabric over it and kind of push it smooth to the cup to make sure that there's no wrinkles or anything like that. Now, someone asked me how I got the fabric to look as though it was straight. So when you're using a modern curved cup, your fabric is never going to go on your cup completely straight. If you have a design that is very uniform, maybe something like these feathers and all of them go up and down, when you start your cup, they're going to go up and down exactly like they're supposed to be, but when you end your cup, they're going to be tilted a different way. And that's because you're pulling it tighter towards the bottom, which is going to make it uneven the way it lays. But with this, you can kind of see they are, they're more across the fabric, but it's going to be hard for you to tell that the fabric is being pulled at an angle with it, because the people are so big on it, the images are so big on the cup. So now that I've got this stuck down and it's somewhat dried a little, I'm gonna put my hand on it right where the Mod Podge stops and where it stops sticking to it. I'm going to flip it back over. I do it this way. I've seen people Mod Podge the whole cup and then go and try to stick the fabric to the Mod Podge. However, I've found that it's a lot harder to get it straight when you do it that way, because your fabric starts getting into your Mod Podge that you've put all over your cup, and it starts sticking wrong. And
your working window is a lot
the
smaller.
Mod Podge actually dries rather quickly. So I'm just gonna do that, and I'll even go back under right here a little bit and make sure that all of it is stuck down very well. And there's enough in there to stick it down. So we're going to flip the fabric back over, and you're just going to keep smoothing your cup out, pulling out all the wrinkles that are in it. You can see the Mod Podge squishing out out of the fabric.
Carol asked, are you going to put glitter on at some point to add dimension to it?
You can. This isn't for a particular order, so it's not really for a girl or a guy. I'm just doing it to give you guys an example of it so you can see how it's done.
And you'll probably use it yourself, don't lie.
Yeah, and I'll probably use it myself, so I may add some glitter to it. And everybody knows that a glitter cup is a lot easier than a solid color cup. Because if you're anything like me, you get glitter in everything. Everything. So, just pulling it tight, rubbing out all the wrinkles on it. You can see that where I started right here, I had a little bit of fabric at the top, and where I ended over here, I have a lot of fabric at the top. So what I like to do, make sure that's tight, pulled, no wrinkles, and all that good jazz. Make sure it's overlapped. Yeah, it's overlapped pretty good. So I go in with my scissors, and I try to trim off some of the excess. I don't like to trim it as close to where it meets right here, only because it's not a straight line from the top to the bottom. So I like to leave a little bit of overhang, because I'd rather not cut off enough than to cut off too much and mess up my whole cup and have to start over. And then I will cut the excess off the bottom. Now, some people use the overhang at the bottom to create the bottom, but I like to go back and I'll show you how I do the bottom. I actually cut a circle out of the fabric that's left over. I'll cut a circle, and then after I trim all this up, I'll stick it to the bottom. So I never forget the bottom. So now that that is somewhat stuck down, see my seam. You can see my seam is right there. So I'll go back over. So if you've ever worked with fabric like this, once you cut it, it will start fraying. It'll start tearing apart like this up here. It just starts tearing apart. So to keep that from happening, where I'm gonna cut it, I'm gonna Mod Podge over it so it makes the fabric crunchy. And I'm gonna Mod Podge up the top as well, so that when I go back and I trim it off, the fabric doesn't fray and it doesn't start pulling apart off the cup. So I'm gonna do that to all of the excess hangover of the fabric. Make sure everything's still pulled tight, no wrinkles or anything like that when you're going over it. And this cup takes a little bit more time than a normal glitter cup or even a solid color cup with no glitter. And the reason for that is all the layers of epoxy, not epoxy, but all the layers of Mod Podge that you have to use to seal it. You're gonna end up doing probably 5 or 6 coats of Mod Podge on it to make sure that it is completely sealed, that all of the fabric is completely sealed, and you don't have to worry about it separating from your cup. And you'll see I've got some stroke lines on here, and I just go back and try to clean those up a little bit. All of the top of it, and I make sure, I'm just gonna stick to my legs, I hate Mod Podge. I lift up this edge right here just to make sure that this seam that I'm gonna end up cutting away, because I'm gonna be able to, you can feel and you can also see this seam right here. You can feel it and see it through the cup. That's where I'm gonna cut it. I'm just gonna cut off Hermione's face, but she'll be fine.
Miss Lisa asked, she said I missed the beginning. Can someone tell me, was the cup sprayed?
No.
Spray painted first, and how many coats of Mod Podge before applying the fabric? She actually hadn't done a coat of Mod Podge on it prior.
That's what I'm doing now.
She's actually, she puts it on as she goes.
Yeah.
For this first coat.
So I stick a little bit of it. I stick the first seam down first with the Mod Podge. I paint it with Mod Podge, stick my fabric on it as straight of a line as I possibly can. And then I wait for that to dry a little bit, and then I start wrapping it around my cup, doing little sections at a time of the Mod Podge, so the rest of my excess fabric doesn't get stuck into the Mod Podge and create a huge mess. And so I'm also sure that there's no wrinkles. Ooh, look at the glitter. There's no wrinkles or anything in the fabric as I'm going. There's glitter everywhere in my house.
Our son's diaper.
Our son's diaper. You know, all the basics. So, and get the edges. Because all of this excess is going to come off. Now, some people leave a space between the lip of their cup and they leave a stainless steel spot open right here. And they do that so they don't have to worry about it not sealing near the edge, because getting a good seal on the edge is kind of hard with the fabric because it starts to lift up, and then once you cut it, it pushes away and all that good jazz. But I've always done mine all the way up to right here. But if you're worried about not getting a good seal with the epoxy, you can cut off, you know, a space like you would if you were taping off a cup. But this cup is not painted. This cup is a straight stainless steel tumbler.
Carrie Ann said if you ain't got glitter everywhere, you ain't a crafter.
That is very true. We call it glitter herpes because it gets everywhere.
Once you got it, you got it.
Once you got it, you got it. You can't get rid of it everywhere now. That's why I tell people that my custom cups are custom made cups. It may have a stray rogue piece of glitter in there that you may not even notice until you turn it a certain way. But it's probably going to be there. I stopped trying, you know, to get them completely without glitter. I'm covered in glitter all the time. Cameron's covered in glitter all the time. My son likes to play with glitter. That's his favorite thing to do, is to play with the glitter.
He pulls it off the glitter rack.
Yeah. It's exciting when Mommy gets new glitter in because he goes through the box before I do.
Puts all of them on the table.
And then puts them back in the box. I'm going to put them back on the table and put them back in the box. Now, this is the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, but I only am using that because that's what I could find in my craft room already. It doesn't have to be a certain type, you know, gloss or matte or dishwasher safe. Mod Podge is Mod Podge. So, and I'm pretty sure if I do any more, I will probably do it with a designer clear adhesive from the Glitter Craze. So I've got this completely coated in Mod Podge in the bottom, because those are all important. The bottom doesn't necessarily have to stick to the bottom, but it just has to have a good coat of Mod Podge on it.
She says she keeps her glitter in one room and the cats aren't even allowed in that room. So it's funny when they have glitter on them.
Yeah, my son's not allowed in my room anymore. He likes to stick his favorite thing is the molds. Besides the glitter, his other favorite thing is the molds. He likes to try and chew on them, which all of us know is disgusting and gross. So he likes to try to grab them even when they have wet epoxy in them off of my tables. So he's not really allowed in here anymore either. He doesn't like when I'm in here because he knows he can't come in here. That's a whole, yeah, he's not happy with that. So I'm just letting that dry just a little bit so it sets up some and it makes the fabric, what it's going to do is actually going to make the fabric crunchy and hard. So
our little guy's one.
Yes, he is one. He likes to tear everything out of everything and then try to put it all back, but he can't really put it all back. So I end up having to clean it up.
He makes a mess.
Yeah.
Alright, well, while that's drying, if you guys have any questions.
Yeah. We've been working. I know a lot of people have asked me to do a live on the sublimation, which I will. The sublimation printer, if you don't use them for a while, like ours isn't a designated, it is a designated sublimation printer, but we converted it from a regular printer to a sublimation printer. So what happens is it has ribbons where the ink goes from little canisters into your machine, and it stays connected to that ribbon with all the ink that travels to the canisters. And over time, if you don't use it for a while, the ink starts to go back down into the canisters, back into the lines, and it doesn't want to print. It clogs up the lines.
Especially we didn't use ours for very
we
probably
used it in a long time.
a couple months. So we've been cleaning the print heads constantly. Just got it back to where it's supposed to be now. So
Yeah,
we got to get more ink, but that'll be the next step for you guys. But Chad, Danielle said, "How long do you let it dry?" Talk about the cup.
Just a few minutes. Mod Podge doesn't take that long for it to dry. It's starting to get kind of
Tacky.
hard now and tacky instead of completely wet. It doesn't take that long. You can see like that's already trying to harden up right there. But the main purpose of letting it dry is so it doesn't pull apart. Like up here, you see the fabric just pulls apart. You pull it and it just keeps going and it completely pulls apart. But when you Mod Podge it and it kind of turns crunchy and hard, it doesn't pull away like that. It doesn't start pulling the fabric apart as you're going.
Carrie Ann said, "How long did it take you to get the hang of the fabric cups?"
It took me a little while.
Because that was her first one. That was her first ever cup she made.
Yeah, my first ever cup that I made was a fabric cup. It was the Miranda Map one, not the one that I made recently, but it was one that I made last year, like in August, I think. And it wasn't hard. Like, I did tons of Mod Podge on it. I still didn't seal it enough around the rim so it had some discoloration under it. My friend Gabrielle actually got my first cup that I ever made, so she has the Miranda Map cup. And then after that, I tried doing one that was exactly like this pattern on a modern curve, and it kept making me mad because as it wrapped around the cup, it didn't it didn't line up on the other side. So it started tilting up and going at an angle because of the bottom. Because when you pull it tight towards the bottom, it starts going up at an angle, and you have completely straight here, but on this side, you know, where it meets, it starts going up at an angle because you're pulling it tight to get the bottom tight.
Yes, if there's a way to do that, it's not something that we've done a whole bunch of.
Unless you're doing a straight cup, like a 22-ounce fatty, a 30-ounce skinny.
But for the fabric side that she does, a lot of her patterns are a lot more busy and a lot more...
They're not in the
They're not linear,
pattern.
I guess is the way to put it. Cause
you know, like these...
It doesn't matter if the music notes are turned sideways. It doesn't matter if the skull is turned sideways.
It doesn't matter if, you know, these guys, you can't really tell because the image on this cup is so big. You can't tell that it's going at an angle towards where it meets.
Robin said, "What size tumblers are your best sellers?"
My 30-ounce cups are my top sellers. Recently people have been wanting to do the skinnies because they realize that they fit better in their cup holders. 22-ounce fatties, the only problem I've had with those is people say they do not fit in their cup holders. And those are my Lysol cups that I do for those. So I have started telling customers that the only complaint that I've had about the 22-ounce fatty is that it will not fit in a standard cup holder in your vehicle. But all the rest of them fit in there, so. And I think even this one would fit in there because it's not as big. You know, it's the same size as the 30-ounce. So I feel like this one, which is the football cup, I feel like this one would fit inside of the cup holder because it tapers down at the bottom.
And Carrie Ann says she loves the cup you're doing now, the fabric one.
Thank you. I'm in a wine fairy group, and a lot of you saw the video of Cameron running and making a wine fairy drop at one of our friends' houses because he's super crazy and silly. And so I posted one of my Harry Potter wine glasses on there, which is this one. I was actually charging it so you could kind of see it glow. And it's got some wine in the bottom, like that.
No judgment.
No judgment. So I was going to do one of these on my next one, which is, you know...
Put it underneath the table. Maybe you can see it glow a little bit better.
Well, if I turn this light off, you can see it glow really well. You can even see it glow through the glitter on the outside of the cup. So this is going to be one of my next tutorials that I do. This is a peekaboo wine glass. A little bit of a different style than what other people have done. And that's mainly due to, I do half it's not the full cup of a peekaboo or the whole back of it. I just do the bottom part as the peekaboo. I've also done one with fireflies in the bottom that say "Let's get lit." But the coolest thing about it is for people here in the South, they have it sitting in a windowsill or something like that, and it charges all day, and then at night it glows. Like, the glow feature around here is amazing. Like, everybody freaks out over it. And I think it's really cool. But these are the type of cups that I started off on. I started off on the wine glasses before I got my cup turner and my epoxy and all my other cups. So I'll be going live in a week or two to do a tutorial on this, which is really cool. I love the glow in the dark.
Kirian says, or Robin said, thank you for answering the question about the size tumblers, your best sellers. Hold on. Kirian said, what group do you do lives on? This one?
Yes,
She does all her
I
lives
do
on this
lives
group.
only with the glitter craze, mainly because I use all of their products. I should buy stock in glitter craze because my obsession is a little over the top.
Up there.
Yeah, but they have great products. I've never gotten anything from them that didn't work the way it was supposed to work. You know, once I think I had an order that was missing a bottle of glitter, and they sent it out that same day for the bottle that was missing. You know, they always have sales. I can't, you know, uplift glitter craze as much. You know, I could uplift them for days. I have nothing bad to say about them. Tammy's great. I love watching Lindsay's lives. And this is a group where all the women and some of the men, like there's only a few men, are nice. I always try to help people. I always tell people, if you have a question, inbox me. I've done, you know, Facebook meets with people who had questions. I'm always happy to answer questions. I never bother anybody in my inbox asking a question. You can never ask a stupid question. The only stupid question is one that's unasked. So you'll see me on a lot of posts. I try to help others as much as I can.
Is Annette the lady that did the meet with you last night? She says hi.
Hi.
Or anyway, hi. She says hi, Heather.
Hi again.
Naomi said that cup is so cute. Talking about the wine glass, I'm assuming?
Yes.
And Carrie Ann says, this is the first time I've seen you on live on here. Well, welcome.
Yeah, I've only
This is
done-
number 3.
This is the third live video that I've done before. I got a lot of feedback saying that they really appreciated, you know, that I did a live, and they'd like to see us some more, because me and Cameron are kind of a tag team duo.
Cool. But the previous 2 were, if you wanted to go back and watch those, they're on the
They're on the Craze.
group.
If you search my name, Heather Riggs, I did a tutorials on water slides. My tutorial also involves turning a clear water slide into a white water slide. The main reason I went live with that is because I caused a lot of confusion with it. And so I figured the best way to do it was to go live and actually show people what I was talking about. So that's how I kind of started. And then I think I did one the other day about just tips and tricks on how to keep from completely stripping a tumbler and starting over because of some discoloration, or if you do have a rogue piece. I've had a rogue piece of glitter in my cup before, how I would just dab it with like a little bit of permanent marker. And then some of the full cup wraps, I've done an Alice in Wonderland cup wrap. I take highlighters to it. You can always brighten up a picture. A water slide on a cup, you can always brighten it up with highlighters. I've got a whole box full of permanent markers and highlighters and all kinds of stuff in there. So those work out great for me.
So now that is hardened.
Yeah, I'm going to trim up a little bit of the excess, and I'll go back with a razor blade. It's still not as dry as I would like it to be.
And then Stephanie said, where did you get the football cup?
I think the Glitter Craze sells those, but when I went to go buy it, they were out of them. I got that one from Stainless Steel Depot, and I got it because I saw people doing the Jack Daniel's whiskey barrels, and I put it on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, and I sold it within, I think it was 4 minutes of me posting it to one of my friends. So, and I personalized it. This one isn't personalized. This is just an extra one that I made with their name on the back that had an offset of the gold vinyl on it, just like this one. But I did the same font on the back and just personalized it for them. But yeah, it's just a wood grain, and then I take, you know, the vinyl, you cut strips of it and put it on there. And then this label right here is just an offset, the gold first, and then I do the black on top of it.
Yeah, Carrie Ann says she loves glitter craze. She orders it from Ireland. She's out there.
Yes.
She says she'll go look at the lives. She said that was a great tip about the highlighters and Sharpies and glitter and all that.
Yes. I love my highlighters and Sharpies. It brightens up my pictures. Sometimes when I print them on my computer, I don't like that they aren't as bright as I would want them to be. I'm probably going to do another Alice in Wonderland cup, and I'll go live and I'll show how I brighten up the colors. You do have to sand the cup before you do it. So you put the water slide on, you put a layer of epoxy, you go back over it, you sand it so that the highlighter sticks to the cup. If you have that smooth surface, it's just going to ink up on the top of it and run everywhere. So I sand it, and then I clean it with alcohol, and then I go back over it with the highlighters to brighten up the image. But I'll probably do a live on it too.
Wendy said, "Where's the cheapest place for vinyl?"
I don't really know. I do some with vinyl, but I don't do a lot with vinyl. A lot of it just sits there. My favorite is the holographic vinyl, and I got that off Amazon. So, and I know Tammy has the Starcraft. Glitter Craze has a Starcraft vinyl, which is a holographic vinyl. I actually have some over here. Don't look at my don't you look either. You're not allowed to look at my collection.
What are you doing?
My collection of printed vinyl. Shh, don't tell nobody. I think that's all.
She acts like I care.
So this is my this is my collection of the printed vinyl from the Glitter Craze. Thanks to John, because he prints them all. But I wanted to show everybody this. This is the Starcraft holographic vinyl. So this is the chrome pink, I think is what it's called. And if you move it, you can see the rainbow in it, just like a holographic glitter. Gorgeous. I've never seen it before, but when I ordered it from them, now it's one of my top faves. That's what I put on my my Classy Bitch wine glass cups. And everybody comments on how the vinyl on there shows the rainbow in it. It's a completely different. It's a different feature that brings light to the cup. This one doesn't have a name on it, but yeah, you can just see, even in the pictures, you can see that there's the rainbow in it. I love that stuff. I didn't even know anything about it until I saw it from the Glitter Craze. I think I saw that she had put it on her cup that she did exactly like this. I copied her. And I fell in love with it and I ordered it. Absolutely beautiful.
Irma says she needs to learn offset. Give us a call, Miss Irma.
Yeah, I was going over the warp feature with one of the members last night on a Facebook call. The offset, so I've had a couple people ask me how to do the offset on the Cricut. I don't know how to do the offset on the Cricut. I've never owned one. I've only ever owned a Silhouette. I thought about even trying to find one on like Facebook Marketplace so that I could have one to learn so I could help other people. But on the Silhouette, I definitely know how to do all the features. I have the business edition of it. So I have the warp feature and the offset, I create all of my images, like my water slides for my Clorox Scentiva cups that I do. I created that off of images from Google. That's where I get all of my images. I don't pay for any of them. So yeah, that's why I do all that.
Awesome.
Let me put my
Smorgasbord of printed vinyl that
They're
I did
so
not know
pretty.
about. That I did not know about.
I had to have one of them all.
I see that. And some possibly two.
Hey,
Anyway.
we're not going there, okay? Sometimes, never mind. Okay, so this has gotten crunchy at the top. So I trimmed some.
That's a good
ends
point,
off.
Jessica. Hold on. I was going to catch up on what people are saying.
Okay.
Carrie Ann said Glitter Craze's tons of tumblers back in stock.
Yes, I saw that on the live, I think.
Trisha says she placed an order and can't wait to get some. Carrie Ann said I got to order some of the printed vinyl. Annette says she loves it. And Wendy says she's doing a rolling tray. I guess you're talking about. So is that what
no.
this is? No. No,
I know what
I'm
she's
never
talking
mind.
about.
I've got it. Samantha says, I love that. Brad says, I guess Tanya was trying to tag somebody saying, look at your cups are awesome. Allison says she'd love to see the offset thing also. And then Miss Irma said that that's what I have is a silhouette.
Awesome.
So
I can
we could go
definitely
through
show
that with you.
how to do the offset on that. A lot of people haven't really messed with that feature. It's a great feature to do, especially with some of the names. My HTV, I do the same way. I do an offset of some of them.
Actually, if you'll hold this, I'll show. So a lady asked us to make a shirt for her, and all she sent was a picture of the actual design itself, and I'll see if I can pull it up because she sent it to me to try to make.
So we make shirts too. We do big orders for shirts. I did some for one of the dealerships that I work for. I made about 40 shirts for them. So we dabble here and there in shirts. So we can also answer any questions about printable HTV, which is what the shirt that he's about to show you is on. We actually printed it.
In Marketplace or from there. Anyway, oh, there it is. Okay. So this is all she sent us was a picture. I don't know if you can see that. A picture of the design, basically saying, "I want a shirt that looks just like that." Right? And because we didn't have that image, I wasn't sure how to go about actually making it. So I went into the Silhouette software and made this one. And I used the offset feature for a lot of the designs and stuff that's in it. So you can see kind of compared how
to the image that he had.
What I had to work with. We still got to put the words and stuff on this one.
Yeah, he actually created that image. So there's.
If something needs to be designed, she asks me to design it. So.
Yeah, he's the designer. I just do the glitter and the cups,
So, but we're making
water
t-shirts
slides
like that for them, and that's actually the printable HTV.
Yeah, that's the printable HTV that he's doing with those. And the printable vinyl, I know about printable vinyl too. I've worked with that, but since I've learned the tricks of the trade on the water slides, that's all I use these days. I love my water slides. I'm gonna need
Jessica brought up what I was saying earlier. Jessica said a good point. The Cricut software is free, so you can actually Google it and download it. I forgot about that. So
I didn't know that. I will definitely look into that. I need to get the
Debbie said glitter. She said that Glitter Craze is still showing tumblers out of stock as of 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, she's supposed to add.
She
them.
said
It
they're putting them in
takes her a
stock
little bit of time.
tomorrow.
She's a busy woman. I thought I was a busy woman until I see everything that she does.
Lisa said, "Hi, how are y'all doing?" I'm not sure if she's talking about us or just the whole group, but we're doing awesome.
We're doing awesome. I just got off from one of my other jobs. So I try to stay busy as well through all of this madness. So this is starting to harden up, and that's where you want it to be. Ooh, I got glitter in it. Yeah, you can see I got glitter in it. Glitter's everywhere. I'm covered in it. I go to work and people think that I have a different job than what I really have. You know what I mean? See, it's still not. When it's completely dry is when you can just take this knife. You can pull the fabric towards it. Let's see, it's not completely dry. So what we're gonna do, instead of messing with that and cutting off all the excess, we'll do another layer of the Mod Podge.
Lordy asked if we sell the water slides.
I don't sell the water slides. I think one of the admins, maybe Nikki or Barbara, sells water slides. I do a lot of water slides. I probably buy the water slide paper in packs of 3. And each pack has 60 pages in it. I have about 13 cups to wrap right now. I sealed all of my stuff the other day, and I've been slacking about sealing them, or about doing the full cup wraps on them. They're all my Clorox Scentiva cups. If anybody wanted to see me wrap a cup, I've done it a couple times. Everybody says I make it look easy, but it is pretty easy. It's not really difficult.
Once you seal it, right?
Yeah, once you seal
before
it.
you hated them.
Before I hated water slides. Oh my gosh, I hated water slides. He would hear me in here screaming and cussing. Not screaming. I just love Mod Podge at you. Oops.
You had one job.
So, But yeah.
Harmony says she does a lot of fabric cups. Thanks for the information. I
Really?
learned something new.
They take a little bit longer than a normal cup, but they turn out really good. You don't have to worry about water slide or painting the cup. I don't paint my cups.
Hand paint. You don't hand paint them.
Oh, no. I mean, like,
You spray paint them.
yeah, I spray paint them. What I'm saying is I don't have to spray paint this cup. I don't have to.
True.
I don't, yeah.
I guess you could make it that way. Harmony said, where do you buy the water slide paper?
I get my water slide paper from Amazon. I think I use the Hayes brand. So I found that their paper's really good. And I get my Plasti Dip. I have 3 cans of Plasti Dip coming. It's supposed to be delivered on Saturday through Amazon, which I use to seal my water slides. And if you wanted to, you could probably leave this sitting like this if you wanted to, so you didn't have to mess up a girl's face. And you could probably even put a piece of vinyl right here, like a black piece of vinyl, or you could even probably put glitter. It'll probably be my cup, so I might put glitter on it. And you don't even have to trim that up, but if you were to trim it up, once this gets hard, you can feel around for where the edge, the seam of this other side comes underneath the fabric. You can feel it right there. And you would just take a knife, an X-Acto knife or a box cutter. I use both. And just, you would go down that line that you have for the edge underneath it. I probably will do something like that because this edge is all messed up.
Mary said, what brand again? Sorry to hear. I think she might have been talking about the water slide paper.
Yeah.
She said Hayes.
I use Hayes, and then I think the Hayes is the white water slide, which I don't use much of because I turn my water slides into white water slides with white spray paint. So the only time I do white water slide is when I have a whole sheet that I can print out. Somebody asked me why didn't I just buy white water slides instead of turning the clear into white. And I do that because I rarely have a whole sheet of white water slide that I need to print out. So it saves me a lot of water slide paper. I just print everything on one sheet. I seal it, and then I cut out my image that I want to turn into the white water slide. I cut out my image and then I spray it white with spray paint. I actually did that to this picture right here. This was a clear water slide and I turned it into a white water slide because of the color of the cup. You do have to mirror your image before you print it out because you'll be seeing the other side that's under the paper backing. You'll be seeing that side when you lay your water slide down. I've also seen where with my white water slide, I still have a lot of transparency with it, which means I can still see the color of the cup through the water slide, the white water slide that I did not create water slide, the white water slide with. So it's not as hard of a white for me on the back of it. I did a Lorax cup, the bottom half was blue and the top part was yellow. I used a white water slide and you could see the color difference between where the half of the Lorax's body was over the blue and the other half was over the yellow. So it wasn't hard enough of a white background for you to not be able to see the color difference. So that's another reason why I do it. I've also done cut out the image on white vinyl and stick it behind the water slide. I've done all those things. So,
Amber said, can you use white acrylic paint?
I've never used white acrylic paint while doing that, but I wouldn't see why you wouldn't be able to. I would probably go back over it with a matte clear or something just to make sure that it wouldn't, the water, when you put it in the water to release the water slide off of the paper backing, it wouldn't mess with the acrylic paint. I don't really do a lot with acrylic paints, but I would think that would definitely work as well. And if you didn't have white spray paint or something like that, that sounds like a good alternative for sure. I wish my cup would dry faster. Anybody have any other questions? We may have to come back and do a second live on this cup because this Mod Podge isn't drying as quickly as I had wanted it to make the cup hard.
Amber said, "Thank you for answering the acrylic paint question."
You're welcome. I always try to answer all the questions that everybody asks on the live. Make sure I get through to everybody. So you don't have any unanswered questions. Yeah, it's just not drying quick enough. I could do a couple wraps in case some people haven't seen me do a wrap.
If you're using the word hope, would you mirror the picture?
Yes. You would mirror the words.
If you're going to make it white, if you're going to make the water slide white, if you're just going to do it clear, you'd leave it.
Yeah. If you're going to leave it as a clear water slide, you would do it as you normally would. But if you're going to turn that clear water slide into a white water slide, you would flip it. You would mirror the words so it would read backwards when you're looking up at it, and the side that you're looking at that prints out on top, you have your paper backing, your water slide, you'll see your words backwards. That is the side that you're going to spray with white spray paint, so that when you put it in the water and you have your white spray paint on this side, the water slide is going to come off of the paper backing and you're going to see the side that was against the paper backing. So it's going to read the correct way from the side that was on the paper backing.
Oh, okay. She said, "Sorry, how would you mirror in-word autocorrect?" We're not really sure.
In-word, yeah, I do all of mine.
I don't know that Word has a way to be able to...
Yeah, to flip it.
Flip it horizontally.
Yeah, because inside of the Silhouette software, you would actually right-click it and then go down to flip horizontally, and it'll flip the whole word backwards.
Thinking from a software...
Spell it backwards. But then I would still...
Yeah, it's gonna... It's just be drow instead of Word. Trying to think software-wise, what I would suggest, if you don't have the Silhouette software, which I believe is free,
yeah, I think
you just download it and use it that way.
There's a free edition of it as well.
I forgot about this, but the Cricut software is also free, so you can use that, and that'd be something that you obviously if you're using Word, you have a computer, so you could do that. But if you get confused with that, just inbox us or message us directly. Carol said yes, do one. I'm assuming she's talking about the wraps.
So cool. I've already got everything set up for that. I resealed all my paper last night. This is how many I have. This is the image that I'm talking about for the Scentiva Clorox cups. I have a lot of them here. So you come in here. I think I still have water in my pan from when I started last night. So
Miss Angel says she does have a Silhouette. She just doesn't know how to use all the things.
Oh, really?
That's fine. Message us. We'll do a video call with you, or we'll try to walk you through it. Definitely not a problem.
Live for anybody that has any questions.
Yeah,
about the Silhouette
we could do that too.
software.
If we get enough requests for it,
Yeah.
definitely. But if not, if we only get one or two, you can always just reach out to us directly.
So this is a trimmed water slide. I trim off all of the edges on it so that it doesn't have any overhang of the water slide. So I put my cup right here. These are already painted white cups. They're white gloss cups. I did that for it to be easy and a lot less work than painting 14 of them because I have 14 to do.
Carrie Ann said, "I have a question."
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We'll wait.
I like questions. It gives me more to talk about.
Miss Angela said that she's requesting a live on how to do the flipping in the Silhouette software. We don't mind going through the whole Silhouette software.
Someone had a question about how to do the offset too. So we can probably just go over
a couple different features there.
A lot of people have questions about the warp feature if you have the business edition or business plus or any of those that have it on there.
Any Silhouette tutorial suggestions? I just got one. I have a Cricut, so I know there's a learning curve, is what Natalie said. And then Carol said, what size cup? That's a 22-ounce fatty.
So this is the 22-ounce fatty. It's a gloss white.
We're not offensive people, by the way. That's just
No.
what they call it.
Yeah, so this is what everybody uses to make it look closest to the wipes container. So I always come to my kitchen when I'm actually wrapping cups so that I can do it by myself. So I put my cup right here at the edge of my stove, and everybody may not be able to do this like I do. And I put my water in there. I do take my cup and run it over so it's wet. If you don't have a wet cup, your water slide's not going to move and slide across it as easily as it would if it wasn't wet, because it would have, it would want to stick to it if it wasn't wet. So you make sure that your water slide is nice and wet. Now, most of the time I use warm water, warm to the touch, not hot. And that actually, I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but I do it. But this is actually really cold water because this has been sitting out since last night, because I was going to wrap cups last night, and then Cameron fixed one of our games on our computer, and we started playing the computer game. I didn't wrap cups. So I take my water slide off. Now this is sealed with clear matte spray paint, and then Plasti Dip, and then another coat of clear matte spray paint. So I take it up to the edge. I make sure my line right here is straight. So from straight top to bottom, I want it to be as straight as possible, because if this is crooked like this, or the other direction, then it'll turn crooked on the cup, because I'm actually just gonna roll the cup to get the image on there.
Carrie Ann said, I printed a water slide using my inkjet, then realized I used LaserJet paper. I've sealed it and it looks good. I'm wondering if it's going to fall apart when I put it in the water. Is this a mistake you've made before?
I have not. Laser paper, I know for a laser ink printer, you do not have to seal your images. I've never accidentally bought the laser paper before, but I'd be curious to see how it works. So definitely inbox me and let me know how that works for you. It wouldn't hurt to try. As long as it goes on your cup and peels off the paper well, I wouldn't think that it would hurt anything, as long as you sealed it, because I think the only purpose of sealing the inkjet paper, or the inkjet one, is because the ink isn't, I guess, set into the paper. I'm not really sure. It's a water-based ink. I'm not sure. But I know with LaserJet, you're not supposed to have to seal them.
She said she'll let you know. Elise said, can we buy those water slides from you?
Sure. I can come up with something like that, as long as Tammy's okay with it. So I'm just rolling my cup, and you'll see I get to the end, and it just falls onto the cup. Now, since my cup is wet, I can slide this image around on it to somewhat straighten it up a little bit. I take a wet paper towel and I keep wiping the water out from underneath the water slide. If you have any water trapped underneath your water slide when you go to epoxy, you will be able to see that bubble through your epoxy. So that's a complete cup wrap, and I'll go back with a paper towel and wipe all the excess water out. I like to dampen it a little bit, only so it doesn't grab hold of the water slide and rip it.
She asked what tray you're using. That's a cookie tray.
Yeah, that's a cookie sheet tray. That's what I bake my cookies in every night when my kids go to sleep, and I can eat my cookies to myself.
Carol said you made it look so easy. Everybody says that.
Everybody says that. It's really easy if you try it this way.
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's the fact that she seals it with the
Plasti
method that she uses. And then I think it's probably just having the lip of the stove, unless you could probably make that yourself with something, and then using the sheet. I imagine that makes it easy because the water stays the
Yeah, so
water slide
the
stays in the water?
Water slide stays in the water the whole time until it is actually rolled up onto the cup, which keeps it from sticking to each other. It keeps it from folding. If for some reason it wasn't straight, I would just peel it back off and stick it back in the water and unfold it in the water. If it got stuck, and folded on top of each other, I would completely unfold it in the water and then try again.
Yeah.
The plastic dip makes it to where it doesn't rip or wrinkle or anything like that. So
Jennifer,
it's really a game changer.
Jennifer wants to know what size fatty. It's a 22 ounce.
It's a 22 ounce fatty. So.
And Alexandra says, I love that idea.
For my placement, for the way I do it, yeah. I totally rigged this like that. It works perfect for me. And it also helps me make sure that I get the images straight on my cup. Now I do let my water slides dry for at least, overnight to make sure that they're dry before I epoxy them.
Guess who's watching?
Who?
Gabby.
Gabby. Hi, Gabby. That's like my best friend from like 6th grade, 3rd grade, something like that. We go way back. But yeah, that's my complete cup wrap. And I do that even with my 20 ounce skinnies. You can turn this the other way if you have to. But for the most part, the whole sheet will fit in this way. Even if it was completely filled all the way with the image. Now, I will tell you I learned the hard way. And someone mentioned to me last night that you can get your printer to print bigger than 8.5 by 11. You just have to buy the bigger paper. A 30 ounce skinny, there's no way you're getting that to fit on 8.5 by 11. It's way wider than 8.5 inches. So I had to actually color that Alice in Wonderland cup in with some alcohol ink and make that work out for me.
Carissa says she would definitely buy some of those water slides from you.
Yeah.
And she said we also have the same stove.
Ooh, see that?
That's going to make your life easy.
That's going to make your life easy.
Jessica said it's a great technique, and Gabrielle said, what's up, peeps?
So, yeah, that's what I got on those. You can see I've got a ton of cups to wrap and a ton of...
This is the one she did the other night.
Yeah, that's the one I did last night. And so when I put my water slide in the water, I tried sealing them 7 at a time, and one of my clear matte spray paint was running out. So I was just running through them. Now when I put them in my water, I noticed that the ink was coming off in the water. That is a big telltale sign that you did not seal it enough. So I took all of my water slides back out. I probably ruined about 1 or 2. If you put a drop of water on your water slide and it bubbles up and you can see the ink in it, you didn't seal it well enough. So like you could just rub water right there on the edge. You see it beads up on mine, but when I slide it over here, there's no ink coming off of that. That's how I know that my water slides are sealed correctly. If I see ink in it, I dry it off. If it's ruined, I throw it away, and I go back outside.
I was about to say, did we keep them?
No, I threw the bad ones away.
These are the bad ones, yeah?
Yeah. So, these are some of the bad ones from last night. Like, you can see...
So that one's not sealed properly.
That one is not sealed properly. So, my clear may not have...
Don't mind us digging in the trash can, by the way.
It may not have gotten good, onto it well enough. But you can see the water is seeping under it. It's making it color change. The blue is a big telltale sign. You can see it starting to fall apart on there. That's how water slide was with me before I started using the Plasti Dip. But you can see that the ink is coming off in my hand from the water slide. So that's how I know that my water slide is not sealed correctly. So I stopped what I was doing and I threw those away and I took my water slides back outside and I did another layer of Plasti Dip and another layer of clear acrylic.
Alexandra says we learn something new every day. And Annette said,
Very
sorry, I forgot how you spray the images. Plasti Dip spray and matte spray. Yes, so matte clear.
Matte clear.
Let it dry.
Spray paint. I use the
Pass-
Rust-Oleum brand.
Yep.
2 times clear, and then there's an acrylic one that's clear that I was using, which is the one that I ran out of. And then I do my Plasti Dip, which is a clear Plasti Dip. I can buy it on Amazon, you can buy it from Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot. I would think have it in the spray paint aisle. And then I do another layer of the clear 2x Rust-Oleum matte spray paint over the Plasti Dip. I've never tried to do it with the Plasti Dip left on top. Somebody asked me if they could just do it with Plasti Dip. I've never tried it that way. They do have different colors of Plasti Dip, so you want to make sure that you buy the clear ones instead of getting like the black or the white or any of the other colors on accident. I've done that before. I ordered a black one, and now I don't know what I'm going to do with a black Plasti Dip.
Yeah, so Lisa said Rust-Oleum clear, and then put question mark. Yes, that's the one. Angel says to use the clear top Plasti Dip.
Yes, it has a clear top.
It does
on
have a clear top. It's a
Yes.
blue. It's a blue can. We have it outside.
I'll go outside and grab them so that
I'll just show.
everybody can see.
This is our
This is my spray painting spot.
landlord's
Dang it,
gonna hate
the wine
us.
fairy hasn't been here today. I guess I wasn't good. This is what I was using before. The matte clear enamel. That's what I ran out of. So I think that's why my water slides, a couple of them were bad. This is my Plasti Dip Glossifier paint that I do in between my layers of the clear. This is the clear, matte clear that I'm using now. It's non-yellowing and all that good jazz.
Izzy was hiding.
I've got kids. They like to peek around the corner at me. But yeah, those are the two products that I use. You can use any of the Rust-Oleum clear. I was using the other matte clear.
So she does a coat of this, lets it dry, a coat of this, lets it dry, and then finishes with a coat of this and lets it
And
dry.
probably about maybe 5 to 10 minutes of dry time in between each layer. And when I spray my water slides, I get right up on them. I don't do it from far away and do little spritz. Like, I go over it. I spray them really good to make sure that they are sealed properly. So I don't have any problems with them because I don't like water slides without the goods, especially with Plasti Dip. I hated water slides when I first started. If your ink starts running off your water slide, you run your finger across it and the ink is coming off, it is not sealed properly. It is not sealed enough. The purpose of the seal is to keep the ink on the page because once it gets wet, it starts smearing everywhere.
And epoxy. When you go to epoxy,
Yeah,
it's
and
going
when
to
you
come up.
epoxy it, you put something wet on it, it'll start running everywhere as well, and your image will start to bleed into your epoxy.
So Miss Elise asked what are the steps, so hopefully we answered that.
Mm-hmm.
Clear, matte, Plasti Dip, and then spray paint. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we do, yeah. And it said thank you. Melinda says your water slide tips are fantastic. My Plasti Dip should be getting here this weekend.
Yes, mine too. You must have ordered through Amazon.
Yeah, and then Lisa said thanks, and Carissa says thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
and check on the Mod Podge, maybe.
Yes, we'll check on the fabric cup. Gabby will like this cup.
Yeah, Gabby, if you're still watching, look at this cup.
She'll be jelly.
Because Gabby's the one that actually has
Yeah, Gabrielle
has the
on
first
the
cup
live is the one that has my first
ever.
My first ever cup that I've ever done, which was the Miranda Map fabric cup that I did. I gave that to her for her birthday in December. So, okay, I think it's hard. I think it's hard enough now that I can do this. Yeah, so you can see I pull the rim.
So this is after 2 coats of Mod Podge.
Yeah, and I went all the way up to the top of each of all of the excess that's up here. I did trim down the excess a little bit more. So I pull the edge closer to the cup and I start cutting it. Some of it's fraying, but and then I just go around my cup and trim the excess all the way around. And I'm also going to do this to the bottom as well.
Don't play with scissors, kids. Don't play with box cutters.
My kid decided to play with scissors once and she cut off her bangs. And when I mean cut off her bangs, I mean cut off her bangs.
Not just a little bit.
No, it wasn't
Like,
just a little bit.
Up to her forehead.
Gabrielle cuts hair and she tried to fix it and she couldn't for a while. It had to grow back. So, all the way there.
Carissa asked if we're from Ohio. We're from Georgia.
We're from Georgia. Do I sound like I'm from Georgia? I can sound like I'm from Georgia if I really want to, but
Won't.
if I want to, I can.
No, I think everywhere's doing Wine Fairy. I think it's a global phenomenon at this point.
Yeah, ours was on the news. I like my Wine Fairy. She brings me goodies. Now, I did play Wine Fairy like 8 times in 3 days, but we ain't gonna talk about that. I gave away all my wine.
So while she's cutting the bottom of that off, I'm gonna show y'all what kind of wine shit we've been getting, because this woman went
Ooh, the
to
sparkly
she
wine.
went to the store so that you guys can see what I get to deal with on a regular basis. So you get to see me now. This is the one that she ended up getting.
Everybody, I posted it on there. I thought it was in there.
No, it's not in here.
We can't allow.
So y'all get to see the wine that she went to the store and bought. Just how much. Granted, it's not that much. It doesn't look like that much now because she's giving a lot of it away, but some of it she's been given. So she does not drink wine, y'all. She does not drink of the wine anyway.
So we have
But this
a
is the
little
one.
bit of a situation.
Is he awake?
Mm-mm.
That's
There's
the
a
one
wasp on the back of the door.
on the back of which door?
Inside door.
Okay.
I was trying to.
Yeah, for all the wine fanatics.
It's got glitter in it. Somebody
Speaking of glitter craze.
Somebody commented on my post and said that you can get the glitter that goes into drinks off of Amazon. It's like an additive to any drink. So,
Do not mind this room.
don't mind my Harry Potter session. You didn't catch that, did you?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, no.
You're fine. You didn't break an ankle, did you?
No, not yet.
Which door?
The front door. On the back of the front door.
Okay. If you want to talk to people.
Oh, sure. I'll talk to some people while you kill this bug. Y'all want to see him kill a bug?
My hat. You use my hat.
You better use your shoe or something. It's a big old bug. Oh, God. You're just going to...
Christian's awake now a bit.
You trying to be... Oh, my gosh. Okay. So, we've trimmed off the bottom of this cup.
Angela says she's from Griffin, Georgia. We're from the Savannah area.
She's from where?
Griffin.
No,
I thought you said Gryffindor.
No, not Gryffindor, you dork. Carissa says she doesn't really drink wine either. She's been regifting it.
You can re-gift it to my house. I'm just kidding. So, we're going to take our fabric. Now that I've trimmed off the bottom, I want a perfect little piece right here on the bottom. So for some of the images, like if I was going to use something like this, you want to do the main focal point of the image of the fabric that you're using. So I lay my fabric out, and I pick something that I like, part of the image that I like. Obviously, it's going to be Harry Potter. So I set my cup on top of it, and then I'm going to take a pen. Let me make sure I got his, yeah, there we go. Okay, and I'm going to draw around my fabric, if this pen works. Yeah, it does. I'm going to draw around the bottom of my cup.
Annette says she wanted to thank you because she saw you spray paint white a decal and it saved her butt today.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
mine was white and it was clear, so I painted one white layer down and then a clear on top.
Nice.
And Angela says she's 8 miles from the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Ooh, she's not very far at all. She would have liked the Georgia Bulldog Cup. I mean, maybe if you like football. I don't really like football. I like Harry Potter. Can you tell? Okay, so I see my circle that I drew from the bottom of my cup. So I'm just going to cut the circle out with my scissors. Nothing fancy. I don't cut it exactly right to the line. I think Cameron did this on my last cup, so I didn't have to.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Because he doesn't like glittering cups. Because he doesn't like glitter.
Mm-hmm. Sure don't. And here we are.
Glitter everywhere.
Glitter everywhere. Glitter everywhere.
Glitter everywhere.
Stop showing them. So I got some of my pin marks right there, so I'm just gonna trim some of those off. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I know y'all are having so much fun watching me cut this little crap off.
Wendy says she's confused about making the clear white.
Okay, I can go over that.
She did a live in the past, Miss Wendy, if that would help.
Yeah, I didn't know.
If nothing else, you could always inbox her and we can go over it directly, or you can actually do a live video call with her separately. So either way, but she can go over it again. She's more than happy to. And then Elise says she's jealous of all your glitter.
It comes with a price.
Carrie says just got here. Hi.
Hi! Hi, Carrie. I'm glad you're here. I've missed you. I'm just kidding. Okay, so lots of Mod Podge. You see I have this perfect, it's not really perfect, but on the bottom, I'm just going to stick it to the bottom. There'll probably be like a little tiny bit of overhang on it, but you're not going to notice a lot. So I just paint the bottom of this cup with Mod Podge, you know, that stuff that everybody loves. It's all stuck to my leg right there. Looks like I'm peeling. I'm really not. It's just Mod Podge.
Jacqueline says loving that fabric.
Yes, I've been wanting to make a cup with this, but, you know, fabric tumblers, they take forever, so I haven't really had time to. I have more orders than I can count right now. And everybody's like, oh yeah, I need a cup for Mother's Day on Friday. And I will tell you, it was actually Thursday when I got an order for a cup to be done on Sunday. I did it. She paid me a little bit extra for a rush order. And I used all Facet. Facet is a game changer. And the UV Facet that is coming out with Glitter Craze is going to be a huge game changer. So Facet now, if it doesn't have UV protection, it actually yellows. I have a cup in the kitchen right now that I did for my first live, and it has yellowed. It was not Glitter Craze brand, so I haven't gotten that one yet. I'm waiting. UPS or USPS has lost my package with my epoxy, so God only knows when I'll get that. So since the Facet that is there now does not have UV protection, you have to do a top layer of something else on it that has UV protection on it, or it's going to yellow. She is releasing, I think Tammy said that she was going to be releasing the UV Facet in mid-June. And so you will be able to use Facet through the whole cup, which means after 2 hours, you apply the Facet on there. You have about 15 minutes worth of work time with it before it hardens in your cup. You put the Facet on there and it is dry to the touch. You can touch the cup and, you know, move it around. You don't have to worry about it being sticky or tacky or leaving fingerprints or anything like that. It is completely dry to the touch after 2 hours. 2 hours of spinning, it is dry to the touch. I completed the cup that I had an order for on Thursday. I did have to use another UV resin over the top of the Facet because the Facet doesn't have a UV protection in it. So you guys will be able to have cups done, you know, in the same day with Facet. Now they do still have to cure. The woman that I made the cup for knew that it had to cure. However, she needed a physical present to give her mother for Mother's Day. So she knows that she can't use it for 3 days after I epoxied it. So
Nikki said, glad I made it to see this part. I'll have to relay to see how you did the curve on the cup.
yeah, it's really easy when you have a pattern that's really all over the place like this one. It's not really hard. You don't have to hide as much of pulling it tight to get all the wrinkles out of it. Now, when you have a design like this and it's very straight. So even if I applied a cup like this to a modern curve, when you make your straight line here to start your design, you have to pull it tighter to get around here, and by the time you get to the other side, they're going a different direction. They're at an angle, and it doesn't really look right when you go from straight up and down to an angle, but it's a lot easier. I always suggest people starting their first fabric cup with a pattern that is more busy and not in straight lines or anything like that, because something like this, you know, it's all over the place. When you look at the full sheet of fabric, it doesn't tell you. You can see that it's in a uniform, like the way they're up and down, but when you get it on the cup, you can't tell if it's slanted a certain way or something like that. Now, if you do a skinny, you don't have to really worry about that because they don't taper as much as a modern curve. So that's always a plus on those. Those are easy to wrap, the skinnies, but the modern curve is a little bit more tricky. You have to have the right pattern to be able to pull off the taper that it has on the cup. So
Yeah, Carrie says charge extra for rush orders.
yes.
Sharon says, hi, I'm new and I'm enjoying.
Hi.
And Jacqueline says UV quick set will be in mid-June. And Carrie says I have the fast set and I can't wait to use it. It made her life so much easier.
Before the fast set, so it released on May 5th, I believe. That's when it was mailed out. I pre-ordered and I ordered it on May 3rd. My order was shipped out like last week sometime, a week and a half ago, I think, and I still haven't gotten it. I was supposed to get it Tuesday. Today is Wednesday. I still haven't gotten it, and they can't even tell me where my package is. So I'm kind of upset about that. I was super stoked. I wanted to have my epoxy so that I could start using it. I'm super excited about the Glitter Craze epoxy, especially, I can't say enough, the UV fast set. I can get the cup for you and show you what I mean by the ambering, by the yellowing of the epoxy. I did one of the full cup wraps with the Clorox Scentiva. I did the full cup wrap, I think, a week ago, and it's just been in my craft room. It hasn't gone anywhere. I did a layer of fast set on it, and it has yellowed. You can definitely tell that the epoxy has yellowed on it. I'll go grab that. This is not the Glitter Craze brand. So I have no idea about the regular fast set because I'm still waiting on my package to come in. But you can see the yellowing on the bottom of it. If I put something white up next to it, you can really tell, like, it's yellow. So I'm gonna have to strip this cup and start over because of the yellowing. I didn't know that you had to put a top layer on it super fast after you do the quick set. So if I do the quick set on any more of my cups, I will do a layer of regular UV protectant epoxy on top of it, probably 2 hours after the fast set has set, because this is a bummer. I can't really save this. I could probably, if I really wanted to, I could probably tape it off with some press and seal and spray paint the bottom white, but you still have all this excess, so I'm not going to deliver a product like that. I'm going to strip it and start over, do another cup wrap on it. So that should be fun. But that is what we're talking about when it yellows. That's the fast set. This is an epoxy that does not have a UV protectant. So if you see an epoxy, I think I was using Pro Marine, that does not have a UV protectant in it, so it will yellow like this.
That's the fast set you used on that one?
Yeah, this is the fast set I used.
This is what someone just asked. What brand of fast set?
I think it was Counterculture. Yeah, I was waiting for Tammy's to come out, so that's why I'm so stoked about the UV fast set, because it's not going to turn yellow like this. I'm super excited about it. I can't tell you how excited I am about it, because it's going to be, the fast set is a game changer, but having to put another layer of regular UV over it, you know, that has to take 6 to 8 hours to set before it's hard to the touch. For you to have to do it so quickly after you did this, it's almost, you know, it's kind of a bummer.
Natalie says she thought she read that no matter what on white, it's going to yellow if you do a
No.
UV coat.
I have some white cups that I've done, glitter cups that has a UV protectant in it. I was using the Fox Rizzle. I got a bad batch of it from Black Friday, and they had to resend me a batch of it. And that's why I ask a lot of people that get a lot of the fish eyes. The first question I'm probably going to ask you is, what epoxy are you using? They had a lot of bad epoxy that went out. So they sent me a new set. So I'm finishing up what I have of that. And then hopefully my Glitter Craze epoxy will be here by the time I run out of that, which is not very long.
Oh, Natalie was talking about just the fast set, is what she was saying.
Yeah,
she thought that with the fast sets, it was going to turn yellowish.
Yes, except for Tammy's UV fast set that is being released mid-June. That's what I'm saying. I'm so excited about it because it has a UV protectant in it. So your UV fast set Glitter Craze epoxy, which I haven't even heard of from any other brand, is not supposed to yellow. It has a UV protectant in it. It will not yellow like this. You do not have to do a UV layer of UV epoxy over it. It can be your top layer because it has a UV protectant in it. It's not supposed to yellow like this. It turned this yellow after a week. And the top layer is a fast set from Counterculture.
But what you actually have the fast set when it does dry, if you don't wait a week before you put the top coat on, it's not yellow like that.
It's not supposed to yellow. If you put another layer of epoxy on it that has the UV, that's, like labeled, like some people think the UV on this means that you have to cure it with a UV light. That is not accurate. This just means that it has a UV protectant, so it will not yellow from UV rays. But if it doesn't have that on there, like my Pro Marine, I'm pretty sure it didn't have a UV in it, so a UV protectant in it, so those cups will probably yellow, but most of my cups were dark cups, and I didn't know that before, but I know that now, especially after this.
Chrissy said, what's the fascination for making the Clorox tumblers? How confusing is that for kids? And then she facepalmed.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of people, I had somebody get really nasty in my inbox. These cups are for nurses that work at the hospital. She ordered 7 from me, and she ordered, after I gave them to her, she realized that it was really hard to tell them apart because they didn't have names on the bottom. So the next 14 that she ordered, she requested me to put the names on the bottom. My kids know not to drink out of these. They come with straws and a lid and everything like that, so they know the difference. My 8-year-old definitely knows the difference. My 1-year-old doesn't really go around them or anything like that. But I did have a lady get really nasty with me over it. I do explain to my kids that this is not a drink. You do not drink a chemical out,
Yeah, just like you don't eat Tide Pods.
Yeah, and I keep all the chemicals away from my kids anyway so that they wouldn't want to drink it out of it.
Yeah, we try to keep all that stuff away from them anyway.
Yeah. So, but some people have gotten nasty with me about that, and I just kind of step away from the situation. So, yeah, any other questions?
How's the fabric cut?
You
gonna wait and...
Yeah, I have to wait for the fabric. After you've trimmed off the excess, you'll want to go back over it, and of course I'm probably gonna cut this edge so that I can line it up. It's not quite hard enough yet. Just saying that. Never mind. For me to cut the down here, it has to set for a little while so that it gets more stiff. But now that I've trimmed up the edge, all that I'm going to do is take a knife and trim down right here so I have a straight line. I'll probably get Cameron to do it because I'm the worst at cutting, or I can't even draw a straight line. So I usually make him do that. But it's really easy. If you put your ruler right here, you can see the seam of the layer of fabric underneath it. But I'll probably get him to do that so that the two butt up together, and then you can push them a little bit and stretch the fabric a little bit more to push the seams together. And then after that, you really just Mod Podge it about 5 or 6 more times. Mod Podge the bottom and all over it. Make sure you get the top to stick very well to the cup so that you don't have to worry about any edges. And then once I once I Mod Podge it a couple more times, I'll go back over it and I'll clean up some of these edges. You see the overhang there, and it's just because it's not stiff enough for the blade to pick it up all the way around. I'll trim these up some more and make sure that the edges are very close to my cup, that you can't see any gaps, and Mod Podge the rim all the way around, because once you do your first layer of epoxy, you can go back and trim off that excess epoxy. because it's created a seal. And then before you get it wet or anything like that, go back over it again with more epoxy. So, but that's how that looks. It's a 20-ounce modern curve that we completely wrapped with fabric. But yeah, about 5 or 6 more layers of Mod Podge on this cup before you epoxy it, to make sure that there is no unMod Podged, unsealed fabric on this cup before you put epoxy on it.
So we'll do another one.
Yeah. If anybody has any requests on what they'd like me to do a live on, or any questions about any of the lives that I've done before, you can feel free to message me in my inbox. I say at the end of all of my lives that I've done, which is like, this is like the 3rd one, so it's not that many. If you have any questions, inbox me, tag me in a post, tag me in a picture. If you have a question, I have had a couple people, send me a picture of their cup, ask me questions about it, and I'm the first one to try and help anybody. If you're having trouble with the offset, I'll mail you, some of the labels. I've done that for a couple people. A couple people didn't have holographic vinyl or couldn't get holographic vinyl where they were, so I've cut their name out of it and I've mailed it to them. Questions, I'll do Facebook, videos with you, Facebook calls if you have any questions or anything like that you don't want to ask here. The only stupid question is an unasked question. So that's my model on that. I'm always here to help if anybody needs anything at all.
Cool. And then Tammy just popped in and said, hey.
Ooh, hi Tammy.
And Tracy asked, was the fabric done as a live? Sorry, I just popped in. And Carol said, yes, thank you again. So, yes, the fabric was done as a live. You can. Well, she's going to save the video so you can go back and look at it.
Yeah, it'll be, I have been putting them in the albums. If you go to the albums and for the videos, you'll see my name in there, and it says Heather Riggs Tutorials. You can actually click on that and go to the comments that are in it, and you'll see the different lives that are in there. I've linked, I've put the URL in there, so you can just click on it and it'll take you directly to the live. The water slide live has 2 parts to it because Facebook decided it didn't like me that day and kicked us off. So there's 2 parts of that, and it's labeled part 1 and part 2, and then the other one is tips and tricks for some of the things that I do. Yeah, and we'll be doing sublimation. I do rhinestones, so any kind of questions you have, I'd be happy to help.
Yeah, so maybe one of the next lives, because this was a question that got asked a couple of different times, is how to convert, this maybe be on the next topic, how to convert your normal printer to this is actually a continuous ink printer that I just buy the ink. It comes in little bottles. We got more ink in today actually, but it comes in those little canisters, and then you run the ribbon and whatnot directly into the printer, and that allows you to not have to buy cartridges anymore, and it's a whole lot cheaper. So, and then this is our normal print.
That I print my water slides out on.
Is just for paper, anything that you need as far as normal ink, and then that we have another printer over here for our sublimation. Yeah, so that's the ink tanks for that. I got to get more ink for it, but there's the ribbon that leads into that. And I was going to show on another live if people need it about how to run it into here and set it up properly so that it works. But yeah, so that might be the next one. So any other questions, if you guys have them, reach back out. My name's Cameron.
He's Cameron. He's in the group. He's like one of 5 or 10 guys in the group. I think he does it so he can keep an eye on my glitter session. Like
this whole print. What is this? This whole stuff I didn't know about. That's why. Thank you, Tammy, with your printed vinyl stuff.
Actually, that's John. John prints those.
Whatever. Both of y'all.
That's how I found the zucchini and squash one, because I creeped to see what new designs they have on the printable vinyl. So that's how I found that one. And then they took it down after everybody was like, I want to buy one of those. Like, that's a really cute idea. Then Tammy took it down. She made me take it down.
So, but Leah said #replay. And then Tracy said thank you. Carrie says, I want the Epson 1500 for sublimation. Crystal said, thank you, I need to see that. She's talking about the ribbons and stuff. I'm more than happy to go over that, maybe on a future live.
I don't think I've really seen a lot of in-depth details about that.
There's not.
On videos.
And even when I went to go...
Even for troubleshooting, like if you have any problems with it reading the chip, so the printers, of course, like everything else, has to be, they want it authentic ink cartridges, there's a lot of problems you can have or can run into of it not recognizing the part that you put in there for it to feed the ink into. So it has a chip on it. Each one of your ink cartridges in your printer, when it's a regular printer, you have it as an inkjet, it has little chips on them, so it recognizes them, and you can only use those ones. Sometimes people run into problems with the printer not recognizing it and not wanting to print with it. Same thing with the sublimation. It does the same thing.
Yep.
You can have those issues with it.
And Tracy says she's so happy she stumbled upon your live just now. Sounds like you're an awesome tutorial provider.
I try my hardest. People will bounce around with questions, and I'll bounce around right with you. If you want to go from fabric tumblers to Clorox tumblers to water slides, we can go there. So I'll bounce around with you, just like, all the questions.
And Chrissy says she'd love to see the live on converting printers. So that's going to be a popular one, I think. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, we appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping in.
Bye.
Bye, all you cool crafting critters.